Hello everyone again. This is the second video I'm shooting today. Classic 80s fanboy here. Now, what I've got to the left of me is some of my classic films of the 80s that I really love watching, and I'm going to share with you. I'm not far with the dates that some of these come out, so and I'm not going to go into in depth about what they're about. I'm just going to say that they are my favourite ones, and I'm here to just show you what they are. So we'll start with the first one. Classic film of the 80s. So that's Blade Runner. Harrison Ford plays a character called Rick Decker. I'll just show you the back as well. There we go. Yep, classic film based on a novel. He plays a private investigator who goes after a couple of synth robots who look like humans who escaped, and he goes after and catches them in the end. Rutger Hauer is in it, and Daryl Hannah, and it's a great film. So that's my first one. Second one, I mean these few first are Blu-rays. Last Starfighter. One of the first films to employ computer graphics. Great film. Of a kid who basically becomes a genius on a computer game, and is whisked away from Earth to fight in what the computer game's based on, the arcade game. Absolutely cracking film if you've not seen it. Fifth Element. Bruce Willis. So this one is another future sci-fi film about basically the end of the world, apocalypse, and a female has been created to stop the destruction. Yeah, an all-time classic 80s sci-fi film made by Luc Besson. On this one, I will say is that I don't know if you've ever heard of the governor who was the one of the strongest bouncers in the whole of Britain in the 70s and 80s. His name was Lenny McLean. He got an acting role in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, and he was a real bad hard man, you know, always stuck up for his family. He's very family proud. He had a bit part in this as a policeman, and they cut him out of the film for some strange reason. All he only had you only just saw a quick flash of him, and that was it, you know. But yeah, he was known as one of the hard men of the UK. Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger. (1984). Can't beat it. It was ahead of its time. Based on Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a bad guy, playing a robot, T-1000, going after a woman named Sarah Connor, played by the lovely Linda Hamilton. Here's that one. Then we have the follow-up, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And these are all to do with time travel. They're all time travel films. So the T-1000 goes back in time to kill the son of Sarah Connor. Next we have a comedy. It's a science fiction comedy, and it's a rip-off of Star Wars. Spaceballs. Made by Mel Brooks, a Jewish comedian. It is his story. Classic comedy films like Blazing Saddles, along those lines, and that was his interpretation of Star Wars. Absolutely funny. Made in 1987. There's that one. Here we go, Sam Jones. Sam Jane Jones. Flash Gordon. Soundtrack by Queen, fantastic soundtrack. Brilliant film. Timothy Dalton, Brian Blessed, Melody Anderson, and Max von Sydow plays Ming the Merciless. Based on a really old comic. Absolutely fantastic. Who's heard of this one? Cocoon. Directed by Ron Howard, 1986. Starring Steve Guttenberg. Just an old group of pensioners come across a swimming pool full of cocoons. They don't know what's in there. They just dive in, and they don't necessarily get younger, but they feel younger, because whatever comes out of the cocoons is rejuvenating their lives. Starring Don Amici, won 2 Academy Awards in 1986 for Best Supporting Actor, who was Don Amici, and Best Special Effects. Now, the film that started off all the CGI films in science fiction, Tron. Fantastic film. I think it came out in about 1980. I think Jeff Bridges and Bruce Boxleitner. And the first 3D created animated film using computers. Couldn't recommend that one enough. Made by Disney. There was a sequel to that. I have got the sequel, but I'm just doing about 80 films at the moment. Now, this is a fantasy adventure film. The most favourite of mine. Hawk the Slayer. English actor called named John Terry plays Hawk, and the evil Voltan is played by Jack Palance, who I don't know if anybody is aware, used to be the Guinness World Record holder for the one-arm push-up. He was a one-arm push-up champ. Very fantasy made. Lots of well-known stars in this. Lots of British well-known stars in this. Annette Crosby, Roy Kinnear, Patrick McGee, very Lord of the Rings-ish. I say. It's not. And there was another film came out around this time. It was fantasy adventure. I mean, this was the time of Conan the Barbarian, and another one called Krull. It was another fantasy film, but this one's the British version. A British film. I'll just quickly read this because there's a synopsis on here. Once upon a time, long ago, but perhaps not far away, there were two brothers, Hawk, John Terry, the younger brother, destined for greatness, possessing gifts of strength, honour, duty and justice, and Volton, Jack Palance, the elder, a man of cruel perversion who bore the mark of Cain. Hideously deformed, Volton roamed the land under a black mask so no one could look on his ghastly face. When their father is killed by the hand of his firstborn Volton, Hawk swears vengeance. Into Hawk's hand, his dying father places a magic mind sword, and Hawk has not only his death to avenge, but that of his wife's as well. And it's a very B movie. I don't know if anybody's even heard of this one, but I remember seeing it when I was really, really young, and I fell in love with it, and it's Star Crash. It's got Caroline Munro of Bond fame. She was one of the Bond girls from Octopussy, I think, and David Hasselhoff, believe it or not, with Christopher Plummer. And John Barry of Bond fame, the Bond composer, wrote the theme tune to this as well. Caroline plays the main role of Stella Star. It was originally released the year after Star Wars, so that's 1978, with a Barbarella budget, so it must have needed quite a huge budget. But not as popular as my last one. And the last one, I think everybody knows this one. It's the very first time it came out on DVD. So I've had this quite a few years now, and what's that one? Of course, it's the Star Wars trilogy, the original trilogy, composing of, the original film was called Star Wars. It was never called A New Hope. It was only years later, when George did went and revisited the trilogies, they named it A New Hope. So you've got 4, A New Hope, 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and 6, Return of the Jedi. So as we all know, George had a 9-film idea in his head, and he thought it would be best to start off with 4, 5 and 6. And then in the early 2000s he produced 1, 2 and 3, and now recently we had 7, 8 and 9, which was absolutely dire. I'm not going to go into that because I think what Disney did was absolutely disgusting, and I didn't even want to talk about it. So there you go, that's some of the 80s movies, and I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did showing it to you. I recommend these films. You can get them digitally. If you look on some of these places, they're even free. So look them up and have a watch. If you're a younger audience, please do have a watch, in teens especially, or early 20s, because you might not have known about some of these films. They came out, these films came out when I was 6, 7 years old. So, I had the fortunate chance of watching them then. I hope you have the chance of watching them now, because they are really insightful, and yes, they may not be to your taste because they're not as updated or enhanced with CGI, but these were the films that kicked CGI off these were the films that actually pioneered the computer generated images, and actually they're not bad. They're not bad. I don't think they're bad at all. They're a good watch. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Bye.